On the top went an enamel dome in green enamel, very much like this one we have here. And then it had a sort of a body, and it had a stick which was done in multicoloured woods, and then it had a base that matched it. And this was, you know, something that was actually modelled in wax, cast in silver, tested, you know, checked that it worked, put some patterning, and then it was disassembled, remade in 18 karat gold. So that's the sort of where the bare bones of this kind of project starts.
Wonderful. And moving from one of the very first things you produced when you were at Cleave to one of the very latest. If you could stretch over, I think we've got the sort of one of the last pieces. And what makes this rather interesting is both that Stewart and Rachel had an involvement. Maybe lift it up a touch, Peter. So
I think we've got the zooming in.
Okay.
I've been rehearsing.
And so this is one of a piece that we worked with both Rachel and Stewart on about a piece that could be quite adaptable to however you may like to wear it. But Peter, do you want to?
This is a piece that we've been working on that's based on the sort of theme of cherry blossom, and we thought it'd be nice to try and recreate the idea that you have something that's very adaptable and meaningful. And so the intention was that it forms the centerpiece for a headdress perhaps for a wedding. And then afterwards could be modified slightly to become a necklace, or a brooch or a hairpiece, but it would follow this theme, and it's eight white gold blossoms with diamond centres, and then we'll put little navette and pear-shaped diamonds around the edge. So this is an embryonic piece.
Fantastic. Stewart, you've got a piece behind you there you brought with us.
I've got something which is actually going with one of Rachel's hats, which is this is specifically made to go with it. So it's something that someone would wear to a wedding or for Ascot. And underneath we've got, it's a double wool crepe coat with satin buttons. And the hat is trimmed in the same satin, but underneath it we've got, for that day to evening wedding, a cocktail dress, which could be worn alone. It can be worn with it. It could be. You've got the most beautiful silver embroidery, and a little diamante buckle on the belt, and that sort of mother of the bride Ascot, many occasions.
Right, fantastic. And Rachel, you've got some pieces here.
I brought, yes, this is just a little pillbox with handmade silk roses. Again, something like this, if we were doing it bespoke for somebody, we could make all these pad flowers in different colours. You know, we cut out each petal, each one's rolled and tooled by hand and then put together into the flowers. Oh yes, there's some there too, you can see. And the piece behind you, in fact, there's a hat. Yes. Did I grab that? No, I can't. All that fabric. That's, you know, there's a hat here which has also got flowers, because we made it to, this hat was made to go with this fabric, which is actually Stewart's fabric as well. So you can just see how we've sort of taken, that's quite a sort of literal bespoke piece, but you know, so we've sort of done the trimming to go in with the fabric. So, and on this one, I thought, you know, you could, if you wanted to, on this little piece, you could put a little diamond brooch, you know, in the middle of the twist, which would be quite lovely as well. Just something, I mean, you know, so.
I think it's great to have things that can be adapted and
absolutely,
and
sometimes I get people coming in with a brooch that they want to put on a wedding headpiece, or you know, or on a hat. I had somebody going to an evening event, and we made a lovely wide sort of crescent, which she could have this beautiful brooch on the side. So it's sort of a vehicle for being able to wear that.
And so Sabina, definitely not last and definitely not least, but you've brought some pieces. What I think what's also exciting is that Sabina and Cleave we're working together on a collection of pens at the moment to try and translate some of Sabina's amazing designs and sort of stories onto pens, of which we do have the embryonic stages of a pen to show a bit later. But Sabina, if you'd like to share some of your designs.
Yes, so the pens that we're working on are based on my Spring Summer 20 collection, which is called the Tower Menagerie, and it's every season I write a story, and then it's heavily researched, and then I write this fictional tale based around animals, and then illustrate it in 3 panels. So the 3 that we're using for the pens I've got here today. And so this one is called the Royal Striped Horses. And it's all based on the animals that were held in the Tower of London, in the menagerie. So they had all these kind of exotic animals, essentially as a zoo, but they didn't really know how to look after them. So there's all kinds of stories, and true stories and tales that come from that time, which I've illustrated. So this one's the Lion and Tiger's Tea Party. So the story is basically that they've all escaped and they're all running havoc around London. So it works quite well with Cleave, with the London element. So that's why we've chosen these designs to use for the pens. And then this one is called the Princely Parrots, which is this one. And then just similarly to Peter with the 5-headed eagles, I've actually brought the drawings because to kind of show the working stage of how they begin. So they all start as a pencil illustration. So you can kind of see how the prints begin life and then are coloured and made into the scarves. But the whole design is always drawn in totality. So I brought those along just to kind of give an element of that as well.
And Peter, is it worth showing some of the pens in the large box? Because we've got a...
I'm not sure how well it'll show.
No, we've got an early stage pen which shows you how the pens first begin life, and then some examples of...
This is actually the early stage of Sabina's pen.
So that's this design.
That's
Yes.
the stripy
horses.
And so what we do is we cut into the silver to create small cells, and then each of the cells will be filled with a different colour of enamel, and then fired and finished and polished. And so hopefully we'll see this develop over the next few weeks. But that's the sort of basic of it. These are designs that we've done for other ones. This is a sort of London pen, which you can see a bit more closely the sort of cells that are there. And we've developed this new design. Again, it's still embryonic, but it's made with an octopus, and so you can see the quality of the colours and the sort of definition comes out well. And these are translucent enamels that we put patterning underneath, which gives it that extra bit of life. And then we have a peacock, which is following the same sort of style, but we've used an opaque enamel, which gives a different effect.
But it's amazing the detail, Peter, on the feathers there. They've managed to bring out each of the individual feathers on the peacock's tail, which is it's quite something to show.
Takes great patience.